and we're hitting you in prime time on a Friday TGIF edition of the show. Hottest show on the streets, talking your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We bring you the show from the Magic City of Birmingham. We stream this to you on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, you know what time it is. You tap that subscribe button right now. Literally, do that right now. Hit that subscribe button. Make this your place, your spot, your avenue, your roadmap for all things Bama football. Also, don't forget to hit the like button. Smash the like button. Give us a thumbs up. Tap the like button. Raise those like levels up right there. We appreciate that as well. But daily, Super Chat go $100 daily. Super Chat go $100 right there. Appreciate that coming from all of you. And even on the last day of the bye week, prior to the games tomorrow, of course, Bama's not playing this week, we got some great topics for you. Starting you off with, will Alabama handle the atmosphere of this Death Valley Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge on next week? Then we look at, you've got some national people going in. Kalen Deboer not handling the stage, right? Not commanding the stage that is Alabama football right now. The Alabama fan base impatient with him. What? We'll answer that as well. And then last but not least here, you look at, does Alabama need help this weekend from other teams to lose when you discuss the college football playoff race, the college football playoff picture? We'll get into that. We want to hear from you, the Bama Nation. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to let your voice be made known on the show, 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. We want to hear from you. But Eli, we jump into topic one here of discussion, that being Crimson Tide next week. You go to arguably the most hostile environment, the most chaotic atmosphere. It is a place in the Southeastern Conference like none other. I've been here quite a few times. In 2020, Eli, I went here and lost my driver's license. Don't ask me how I lost them. I just lost them, okay? And I had to come back to Alabama to get my license redone. The place I'm referring to is Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That place is like none other in college football. And for Kalen Deboer, as the Alabama head football coach, he faces his toughest test yet next week, going down to that environment that has Mike the Tiger in a cage, going down to that environment where the fans shake your bus, going down to an environment where they play songs like Neck and We From Louisiana, and we from Louisiana. You know, that's what they do, right? That's what they do. You're going down to that environment where it's kind of crazy down there. So Kalen Deboer faces his toughest test yet here as of next week. But he does have an experience to pull from. You go up to Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Tennessee, on Rocky Top, and that's a chaotic environment. Those fans are wild up there. You had a game plan going up there, but that game plan not fully executed out. And what happens? You suffer a 17-24 loss. But that experience prepares you better for what you're going to face next week. But it's not just Kalen Deboer. You also got Jalen Milroe going down there, right? Can Milroe lead his team through this environment and bring it out with a win? Your back is against the wall. This is a must-win for Alabama. FanDuel Sports has Bama as a 2.5-point favorite. That betting line came out. There's a couple of other sites that have Bama as a 1.5-point favorite. There are some that have LSU as a 1.5-point favorite. And I think Caesar Sportsbook, Eli, has this game as a pick'em. I'm not quite sure, but I believe Caesar Sportsbook has this game as a pick'em. So right now for Jalen Milroe, who, if you go back to last year, he went to a hostile environment known as Kyle Field. College Station, Texas, the 12th man. He went down there last year. 12th man get crazy. You got the midnight yell and all of that. 12th man's crazy. And Milroe went for over 300 yards passing. Bama won the football game at the 12th man. So Milroe has been exposed to some hostile environments in the past. You go back to last year, you're at Jordan Hare in Auburn. How wild that environment is. And Milroe gave you 4th and 31. Gravedigger right there to win that football game. So Milroe has been exposed to some hostile areas. But next week, the biggest one of his career. Can he go down there, lead his team to a win, and a statement win over LSU in Death Valley? That's going to be a big one there for Milroe. And then you look at Nick Sheridan, offensive coordinator. Can he have the scripted play calling down there to take LSU's crowd out the game the way he had the scripted play calling against Georgia that had Alabama fans going crazy with excitement that first quarter? Y'all remember the first quarter against Georgia, Bama went up 28-0, and everything Sheridan was calling was money. Like the wheel route to Jam Miller, the run plays that Jalen Milroe was doing, everything Nick Sheridan called in that first quarter was bang, 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 boom, money. Like everything was hitting. Like everything was right. You're up 28-0. Kirby Smart's like, what the world going on? Kirby didn't know what to do. So if you're Nick Sheridan, do you have that same type of scripted play calling where the execution's on pinpoint to take the crowd out of the game in Death Valley? Big question right there. Last but not least here, Kane Womack. Can Kane Womack stack together a third solid defensive performance? Defense played well enough to beat Tennessee. It did. Defense shut out Mizzou. Played well. Very well. Can Womack have something dialed up, called up, ready to go to shut down Garrett Nussmeier, Aaron Anderson, and this high-powered LSU offense that's really found itself despite a recent loss to Texas A&M? You're going down to a very hostile environment. Can Alabama in all three phases of the game handle this with discipline, handle this with attention to detail, handle this with focus, most importantly, handle this with the mindset of showing everybody in the college football playoff committee it is not out of the CFP race. It's still right there. It is still right there. It'll be fun to check this out next week. But we'll take a break here, folks, in the show. On Touchdown Down, we're just getting you started. When we get back, we go to those phone lines on a Friday because I want your thoughts, your energy, your conversations, your viewpoints. We get to you guys, the Bama fans, after this.
TDA Plus is the all-new Ultimate Alabama Football Package, perfect for any Alabama football fan. Not only do you get subscriber-only articles where you can stay up to date on everything that's going on with Alabama football, you also get our brand new video hub that features many podcasts and shows, including Stephen's Report with Stephen M. Smith. With over 15 years of covering Alabama football, you get trusted information as Stephen goes in person to see the team come back and break down to you what he saw live in person. You also get the Way It Is podcast with Stephen M. Smith, where he tells never-heard-before stories and crazy situations that happened during his 15-year tenure of covering Alabama football. You also get Justin and Dex, where they break down recruits like you've never seen it before, with exclusive behind-the-scenes information and exclusive interviews with recruits. You also get Justin's Recruiting Bites with Justin Smith, where you get the best up-close and personal recruiting information and even talks to you while he's on the road going to recruiting events. Alabama fans, you don't want to miss this huge offer for a jam-packed experience for only $7.95 per month. Visit touchdownalabama.com and become a TDA Plus member today.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, Bama Nation, we're back in here to the action from the break on a Friday TGIF edition of the show, even on a bye week. Popping out that Crimson Tide content to you. I'm yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. We got a couple of super chats to get to. So how about my man Bill? Bill from New York dropping in that $6 donation in the bucket there. Appreciate the love from Bill. And then the president, Wayland, comes in here. Wayland with that $9.99 helping us out here on the show. That go, Daily Super Chat go, $100. Daily Super Chat go right there. Appreciate that from all of you. But right now, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. The number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening, how we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
It's Daniel from Phoenix City. How are you, Steven?
Doing well, Daniel. Doing well. Bama's got the bye week, but how you feeling, Daniel?
Well, I'm having a late flooring, so I'm not too good right now, but that's by the way.
But it's all right, man. You get a chance to call in and talk to me, man.
Oh, yeah. You know, the wife's not here, just getting some stuff done. So I got a few things, man. I've been trying to call in a couple weeks, but some of these former players that I see, I'm all about constructive criticism, especially from former players. But some of these players, it doesn't even appear that it's constructive. It's just, this guy sucks, this blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not down with that. I think that's not the way to handle that. Because I specifically remember when Coach Deboer came in, he said something to the effect of, hey, former players, we need you. In fact, please come. Did he not say that?
He did say that. He did open the door for all the former players to be a part of the program, be a part of the campus, be a part of what he's trying to do and help out. And this season, you've seen so many of those guys back at the games, whether it's Julio Jones. Julio Jones has been back several times. A.J. McCarron's been back. Trent Richardson's been back. Dre Kirkpatrick's been back. You've seen several players, Ryan Anderson, several guys have been back to the program.
Yes, and which is great to me. And I'm not saying it's not happening, but you'll remember back in the 22 season, listening to Bo talk about the things he saw, like, hey, this isn't right. What did Bo go do? He never bashed any of these players. But what did he go do, Stephen? Did he not go to Bama and talk to those players and say, hey, this is the standard, this is how we do things?
He did go down there. He did have a meeting with Coach Saban. He also talked to several players about this is what needs to happen. And the guys that took his advice, they were better for it. Others that were not feeling it, they decided to transfer.
And that's what I'm saying. Again, I'm not bashing any player, but I just feel like that's the way to do it. You know, Bo would say, hey, I see this. This isn't how we do it. And I really don't. There's a difference between constructive and destructive criticism. Don't you agree?
There is a difference. You're right about that, Daniel. So the big thing here is wanting the best for your program, especially if you're a fan or former player, you played at the university, but also going about it the right way of how you want the best for your program. So I see it. We all want the best for Alabama football, but it's also in the presentation of that. How do you go about that the proper way?
Right. And now moving on, and I'm just going to pause on this briefly before I say my last thing. I just now today have started to get to listen to your show from Wednesday, but I heard you talking about, some people say Jalen Milroe's hurt, other people say he's not. I was at that game this past week, and some things it's harder to see, and then other things it's easier to see when you're actually at the game. And Jalen Milroe's bread and butter all of last year and the first portion of this year, that dude does not miss deep balls. That dude does not miss those passes. And the last several games, he's been off. Personally, I was watching him. I feel like he's got something. This is just me. I'm not an expert. I feel like he's got something going on with his, his back leg would be his right leg when he throws, right? Yeah. So even if you watch that touchdown run, it almost looks like he's hobbling if you watch the replay. Yeah. I don't know if you have or not.
Yeah, I've seen it, yes.
That's what it looks like to me. And I want him to be okay. These aren't throws he normally would miss. I don't believe he's regressing. I believe personally that he's got something going on. And, with this bye week, I hope he's just got the time to heal up and, get together, physically where he's able to perform and do what I know he wants to do and what he can do, because he's a great quarterback. But he needs to get healthy. And then the last thing I'm going to say is about the run game. I think we all want to see the run game more. And by the way, I love seeing Justice truck that dude the other day. I did not see it.
That was awesome.
Yes. And I was in the end zone opposite of where he was running. I think it's a south end zone. But I didn't get to see it till the replay. I was like, oh my God, he just destroyed that guy. But the one thing I will say, as much as we want to see more running, one thing we do have to consider is to get that run game established, it's not just as simple as calling those plays. If the offensive line cannot block or open holes or whatever, it is very difficult to get that run game going. As I heard you on a show on another network here a couple of weeks ago, someone was saying, when you're picking up 2 yards a pop, you cannot have a run game with that. So I was happy last week to see that run game in that second half pick up, and they were able to start picking up those chunk plays, and which was great seeing that. And then, some of the balance, Jalen started making some more throws in that second half, but all that does go to the run game, but we really need to see the offensive line step up continually.
Absolutely. Appreciate Daniel calling in there from Phoenix City. You guys see the run game step up. You guys see the whole totality of Alabama football come to full picture. Now, last week, we got a glimpse of it. We got a remnant of it. Can it stack another performance on top of that when you look at next week against LSU? But we grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen, what's going on tonight? You always keep everybody laughing and everybody cheered up here. Everybody loves to call in and talk to you.
Man, Wagon, it's a joy, man, and it always started off with you, man, the President Wagon in the building. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's a rest week for the Bama fans out here, the Bama players, getting yourself prepared for to take on that hostile place known as Tiger Stadium next week. But I think Deboer and this team last week, some light hit because the coaching staff understands we're in the SEC. We got to have our stuff together every week. But I think the players understand this is the coaching staff that we wanted. So if this is the coaching staff that we wanted, we got to prove that we made the right decision of having this coaching staff in here. So I think the coaches and players last week finally got on that same page of urgency.
Yeah, there was some of the videos there. The practice this week looked, a little different, but they were having fun. And I don't know if Jalen's got a little injury or two, but he looked pretty good from the videos I was seeing this week. I don't know what your opinion is. Did you see anything that was? Did this stick out to you that he was hurt? I didn't see anything. Of course, I could have missed something. Did you?
I know. Okay, so for the videos this week from practice, he looks okay. He looks okay. Now, of course, Jalen is not going to come out and say, I'm dealing with this or this is bothering me. He's not going to say it. The coaching staff is not going to say it. So I remember the Tennessee game in pregame warm-ups, there was a clip of him that looked like he had a slight little limp to him. And then, of course, the touchdown run he had against Missouri, it seemed like he was favoring something as he was trying to get to the corner of the end zone. My thing is, this bye week, I believe that they got him with Jeff Allen, and Jeff Allen and his team got him healthy, got him rested, got him set to go for next week. So my thing is that they got him to Jeff Allen. Jeff, one of the best in the business, and what he does, I think Milroe will be okay.
And we'll hope so. We got to have him back here. Your quarterback is the general of the offense. He may be the general of the whole football team. I don't know. The middle linebackers also, in my opinion, the general of the defense. So you got two generals there that run that football team. You have to have them healthy and ready to go. Remember our record in Baton Rouge is I saw a lot of night games played at LSU and Death Valley. 29, I think, is 29-10, and with two ties, I think. Might have changed a little bit there, but we've always had a winning record in Death Valley. And I think Texas A&M showed us a little something there of how to really, step on LSU's toes. And maybe we'll see what happens a week off and, next week, get back to, getting more serious and get ready to go to LSU. It's always a tough game, always will be, always has been. And that's just the way it goes. I see everybody in the chat. I love all y'all. Y'all have a safe weekend. Rest this weekend. No Alabama football, but enjoy the rest of the games. Pull for your other favorite teams, and we'll see everybody next week on Monday. I love all y'all. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate Waylon calling in here on a Friday to the show, and absolutely. We're going to see what happens. We are going to see what happens because a lot of national media is looking at this game next week between Alabama and LSU to say, what could we discuss about Kalen Deboer as you go into postseason, right? His first off season as the Alabama head football coach. It's going to be interesting, but we grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, Steven. This is Mike from Kentucky, man. How you doing tonight, brother?
Doing good, Mike. Get a chance to rest this week. You got the bye week for Alabama, but those guys are going to be ready to go next week down to the Tiger Stadium to face Brian Kelly and LSU.
Yeah, I need a bye week myself the way this season has gone, brother.
I mean, Mike, we all need one, man. We all need one. I mean, the first 3 games, you're like, okay, I like this. You get the bye week. You go out there against Georgia. You win that game. You're like, all right, man, we on top of the world here. And then you get hit up by Vanderbilt. That one good. You escape with the win against South Carolina. You didn't play your best. That was kind of rough. You go up there to Tennessee. You should have won that game. You shot yourself in the foot. You lose that game. Then you beat Missouri. But this bye week comes at a real good time.
I mean, we looked okay last week against Missouri, but you got to be realistic, man. Missouri was dinged up really bad, they didn't have a quarterback. So I can't really get, they did look like they were playing more physical, which is a good sign. And I agree with Waylon. Nobody's won in Death Valley more than Alabama. Mike Shula won in Death Valley when he was coaching.
This is true. And a lot of people forget about that. But this is true.
T.J. Yeldon and A.J. McCarron broke their hearts. I remember just too many guys. I can't remember all the times we've won in Death Valley. So
I mean, Mike, we can go back for 2018. Tua Tagovailoa with the knee brace on won in Death Valley.
Yeah, I mean, we've never been afraid of that stadium. But I'll tell you, man, to tell you the truth, Steve, I'm still mad about the Vanderbilt game. That game should have gave us a razor's edge for the rest of the season to start smacking heads and taking names. And it really ain't happened yet, but I ain't saying it's not going to happen. But we're going to find out what's what against LSU. I mean, Tennessee used to be the game when they had Fulmer and Peyton and them cats, but as of the last decade, LSU's been the toughest game on the schedule year in, year out.
Right.
So if we can go down there and get the win, then I'll start feeling pretty positive. I mean, I'm going to stay positive anyway, but I'll feel real good if we win this game, man. I tell you, man, Nussmeier ain't no joke. When that kid's well, he's hell. You know, when he can hit his receivers, man. That young secondary is going to have to batten down the hatches because they're going to sling it all over the yard. Well, all right, man, I'm going to get off.
Absolutely,
I'm going to get off, man. We need a week off. But tell you the truth, I think Milrose's got a little bit of a right hamstring. I think he just a touch, because they haven't been really letting him throw the long ball. I mean, how many times did he throw it against Tennessee? Not that much.
45 times.
Yeah, the long ball?
Not the long ball 45 times. He had 45 passes. He probably had maybe 3 long balls.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see very many. I mean, that's his bread and butter, man. Now, they need, we did get the head coach we wanted, but we didn't get the offensive coordinator we wanted. He took off to Seattle. We got a Cherry calling plays, and, he's doing the best he can. But, that's a big deal, man. When you got a Cherry calling plays, man, that's a big deal. Because sometimes Jam gets the ball and they're on him like, he don't get 2 yards up the field. So I think they need to mix it up a little bit. Throw on first down. Don't let LSU pin their ears, man. You got to make their linebackers play fair. Because to tell you the truth, I don't think we have a true between the tackles tailback. We got a couple guys that are shifty, and Jam has shown some durability. He's shown some physicality a little bit, but Justice needs to make a move. He's not running over people. He's still a baby. He's still a baby. But all right, man, I'm gonna get off, man. I'm feeling good. We got a week off before LSU. Are they off this week too?
Yes, they are.
Okay, it's gonna be a war, man. Roll dadgum tide. Y'all take care, man.
Appreciate Mike from Kentucky calling in. Mike just made a great point, Eli. Ryan Grubb, and people are not talking enough about this. Ryan Grubb was supposed to have been the OC. He was supposed to have followed King and Deboer from Washington to Alabama. Ryan Grubb decides to stay in Washington to coach the Seattle Seahawks, to be their OC. So you have to bring down your tight ends coach in Nick Sheridan to make him the OC. How much truly has not having Ryan Grubb played a role in this for King and Deboer? That's a topic that needs to be that needs to be touched on. We gotta take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Corey from Trussville. How you doing, Steven?
Doing great, Corey. Doing great. Got get a chance to rest this week. Got the bye week here, but preparing for LSU. Corey, how are you?
I'm doing great. I wanted to ask you a couple of things. One, what do you think our rooting interest needs to be this weekend? Because, in my opinion, I don't think a 10-2 Alabama is going to get in without some help.
Absolutely. And this was actually going to be the discussion question toward the end, but I can tease it here. I think you would want to root against Penn State over Ohio State. I think you would want to root Penn State there. I know Oregon plays Michigan this weekend. You kind of want to pull for Michigan there. There's not a whole lot going on this week. I know Miami's got to play Duke. I don't think Duke is going to beat Miami, but definitely Penn State over Ohio State. and then definitely Michigan over Oregon.
So you don't think that Alabama can get in with just having a 10-2 record? They're going to need some help.
Now, I think Alabama may need help from possibly one team to lose, because if you look at the 12-team playoff, the committee, just because you're right now at numbers 1 through 12, doesn't mean you're automatically going to get in, because the committee is going to look at that strength of schedule also. Now, when do they put that into play remains to be seen, but just because you're sitting at spots 1 through 12 does not guarantee you a spot in right now. So for Alabama, you handle LSU, that's a big feather in your cap for the playoff. You handle LSU, because LSU's ranked right now. Missouri is still ranked right now, although they've been banged up. Tennessee's still ranked right now. So even though Alabama suffered a loss to Tennessee still being ranked, that's still a quality matchup for Alabama. You were able to beat Missouri. Missouri's still ranked right now. You go down to LSU and you handle LSU, that's a positive for you. And you still have a win over Georgia, who is still ranked right now. So for Alabama, its schedule of what's already played holds in its favor. Just got to go down there and take care of LSU.
And I think we would want Georgia to win out and win the SEC championship if Alabama can't get to Atlanta itself, because that would still serve as a quality win. And then going into the LSU game, I think what's going to be key is having the swarm defense create turnovers, because we've created like 8 or 9 turnovers the last 3 games. The key is going to be turning those turnovers into points.
That's the key.
Which will be starting with the running game, because you can get pressure on Garrett Nussmeier, and as you saw in the A&M game, he's a really good passer, but he is prone to turn the ball over. So if you can get him to turn the ball over, cash those turnovers into points, that'll put a lot of pressure on LSU, because we saw last year what Jalen Milroe did with his legs against LSU, and while I do think their defense is a little bit better than last year, you still can run the ball on them, as you saw with the running quarterback of Reed with A&M last week. So I think with Milroe running the ball with our running backs, I think that'll go a long way in deciding the game in Baton Rouge.
When you look at this, Corey, LSU has given up 130.8 yards per game on the ground. They've allowed 14 rushing touchdowns. So if this Alabama run game, this offensive line can do what it's supposed to do, Bama should have success here in the run and have that balance offensively. But appreciate my guy Corey from Trustville calling in. We're going to grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, this is Mike in Austin, Texas.
Mike, what's happening, man? How we feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. It's an off week, so we got a week to think about it, week to relax, and a big game coming up. And, Steven, man, we are very capable of beating LSU. If we play to our potential, we're very capable of beating LSU. And I honestly, do or not, I think it's 50-50. But here's my question, man. If we're such a horrible team as Paul Feinbaum and ESPN and everybody out there thinks we are, why are we favored every single game, including the one going like to Baton Rouge? I just do not understand, if we're such a horrible team, why are we always favored, man? I do not get it. You know what I mean?
I don't get it either, Mike. I mean, if Alabama is this awful, then why is it favored going up against LSU? Why is it favored in every game it plays in? Now, I'll say it like this. Every good thing in life takes time. Marriages take time. Every great thing in life takes time, especially if you want it to be great. When you look at Coach Saban, we all grew with Coach Saban. We grew with Bear Bryant. Well, Bear Bryant was way before my time. But you grew with Bear Bryant. You grew with Coach Saban. So you grew with Bear Bryant was at the program with 25 years. So you knew the ins and outs of Bear Bryant. You knew the ups and the downs of Bear Bryant. You got a chance to know what this man was about. And he was able to deliver in that growth. Like, you grew with the man. You grew with Nick Saban for 17 years. You got to know the ins and the outs of Coach Saban. You were able to see what this man's philosophy was truly about. Here is Kalen Deboer. You're not going to know this man in 1 year. You got to be able to grow with this guy right here. He is in here. He is the coach now. You are not going to get Nick Saban back as the head coach. As much as the Saban romantics would love to have him back, you're not going to get Nick Saban back as the head coach. You're not going to get him back. So now you got to be foregone with, we got to grow with Coach Deboer. Whether he wins a game, whether he loses a game, we got to grow with Coach Deboer and see this thing out.
That's right. And so far, I give Coach Deboer good marks because keep in mind, we do have the number one recruiting class to build to the future. But, you know, as far as people like Paul Feinbaum goes, I just want to let Bama Nation, anybody out there listening, to know that Paul Feinbaum has been changing his opinion week to week for over 40 years. That guy has contradicted himself more than anybody I've ever known in this world. So anything, and I think deep inside Paul Feinbaum's gut, he hates Alabama. I really think that. And I think he's jealous and hates Nick Saban. So anything Paul Feinbaum says, I take with a grain of salt. And I wish I had a chance to tell Paul Feinbaum, I hope he's listening, that he is the Jerry Springer of the SEC, and his show is about half listenable. I can't even listen to half that crap. So anyways, I don't want to go off on that. But one thing real quick y'all were talking about, I really feel, Stephen, if we go 10-2, that means we win out, and that means that we go to the playoffs. That's what I think. Because keep in mind, just like you said, we got the best win in the history, in college football this year, and that is the Georgia game. People seem to forget that. We have to keep reminding ourselves of that Georgia game. The committee, that's going to be front and center. But also keep in mind, man, that this is an 11-team playoff, 11 teams, not 12, because Ohio State posers have a space reserved. No matter what the posers out there in Ohio State do, they're going to have a spot reserved. So it's the 11-team playoff. So with that said, this is a huge experimental year, the first year of it. I mean, like for example, the loser, let's say if Alabama goes 10-2 and wins out and goes to the SEC championship game and loses, are we going to get bumped out of the 11-team playoff? Are we going to get bumped out? Who knows, man? So all this is experimental, and that's just my point. I guess. But another thing, like right now, Stephen, this is what I don't understand, man. Indiana, number 7. That's the biggest joke in the history of college football, other than Paul Feinbaum. I guarantee you this, man. I guarantee you this. If we played Indiana or Miami this Saturday, we'd be favored to win that game. But it's the craziest thing in the world. Considering Alabama goes 12 games, 11 and 12 games every year, pretty much in the SEC. If we played Indiana every week, they would cancel their football program in about a year and a half. They would physically not be able to get out in the field and play. It is two complete different levels of football. So them being at number 7 is a complete joke and shows me the parity of what we're dealing with, and it needs to be fixed. I guarantee if we lined up with Indiana, it would be a crime scene. That's just my opinion, man. I could be wrong. Hey, we lost a venue. The world fell apart. But, Stephen, that's my rant for the night, my man. That's all I got to say. So everybody stay in there. And a big LSU game. Brian Kelly, 1 year, he's going to win a championship at LSU. But it ain't going to be this year. Roll Tide. Peace out.
Mike from Austin calling into the show, giving us his thoughts here on a Friday. We continue with the phone calls. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Stephen, Bill from New York. What's happening, man?
Bill, happy to have you in here, man. Bill, first and foremost, I hate that the Yankees let that get away. I hate that the Yankees let that get away.
Very sloppy play. It was disappointing. But anyway, Stephen, I have a bit of a different opinion from the other callers, especially the first caller. But the last caller, he asked why we're favored all the time. I'll tell you why. I think the team's tremendous. I think, look, you're looking at Malachi Moore, Lawson, Jihad. These are three guys that play the position that doesn't generally get drafted so high. These guys played themselves in the first round. Superstars. They're absolute superstars. Love this guy Overton. I think he's the most underrated player on our team. And you know how I feel about Q-Man. Look, we're stacked. And not only that, the secondary, who's supposed to be, it's such a weakness. Well, with this number 18, he comes in there, he's a big monster, and he's diving all over the field making an interception. Listen, and I'll tell you right now, our defensive line is better since Otis left. Goodbye, get out of here. We're better without that guy. Now, offense. Look, the first caller was talking about the line. It needs all this work. Wait a second. The center looks good to me. I tape these games. I'm no expert, but I watch these games, right? Center looks good. We got the best pair of guards in football, okay? Proctor, he's looking good. The right tackle, all right, maybe a little shaky. I don't know. But what I'm saying, it's a good line. Our receivers, number 5, we got everybody. Stephen, we're really good. Now, the elephant in the room, the defense is improving. You could see it. All right, we need Milroe to get better. I'm sorry. If they jam up the line and force him to pass, he's got to hit these open receivers, Stephen. The guy's talented. You know what I mean? But so is Ryan Mallett. Listen, it takes more than time. You got to hit these open receivers. You got to get rid of the ball. You got to get it to the tight ends. You got to make this team move. And I'm not worried about these other teams. Let them do what they got to. Look, if we got to worry about ourselves. If we win out, we're gonna get in the playoffs. And we got to win big, too, and we're going to win big in LSU. We're Tiger. We're going to tame the Tigers. I'm worried about those fools. What do you think, Stephen? Am I that far off?
I am so excited for this game next week because what I want to see happen is not just, the line, the trenches, that's a big deal. What I want to see is King and Deboer look at everybody in the national media and say, got you. Like, you think I can't do this? I'm going to go down here to Baton Rouge, and I'm going to take the heart out of everybody in that stadium. I want to see King and Deboer walk right into Death Valley and stick a knife in everybody in Death Valley. I'm so looking forward to that. Because the dude is setting himself up for this chance right here. He goes down there and he does that, which I believe he will. Bama sends that message to the committee, you're not leaving us out. Like, you're not leaving us out. I think Alabama goes down to Death Valley and handles the business that it needs to handle.
No, I agree with you. And the thing is, you don't hear me. You haven't heard me, criticizing Deboer. I don't like this ice cream truck thing and who's singing songs and music and practice, whatever. But look, maybe the world's passing me by. I'm old, you know what I mean? That doesn't bother me that much. I'm saying if Milroe improves, I don't think anyone could beat us. I really mean that, Stephen. If he can, again, he's got to spot the open receivers. He's got to make quick decisions. Don't wait. A guy that fast and that talented shouldn't be getting sacked that many times. He's got to take off and run when necessary. He's got to do what he's got to do. And I don't think I almost cursed. I don't think there's a team out there that could beat us. Am I that far out of line?
When Bama Bill is playing the way Bama's capable, there's nobody that can beat this team. But it's like you said, it starts off with Milroe. It starts off with him doing his job as a quarterback. As he does his job as a quarterback, everything else falls in line. But it starts with him.
Yeah, you're right, Stephen. Look, I'm going to let you go. I'm long-winded enough. You know what I mean? And I won't be texting Waylon this week. You know what I mean? He gets a break. I won't be burning his phone up. But listen, roll tide to you and everybody else. Have a great night, great weekend.
Absolutely. Bill from New York calling in and giving us his thoughts here on the show. This is why you tune in My Own Words 3 days a week, Eli. Because you get the chance to hear from some of the most colorful cast of characters. Enjoy Bill from New York. Enjoy Mike from Austin. Enjoy everybody that calls into the show. Like this show, thank you, Lord, touches from East Coast to West Coast to out of the country. I believe there was a time a while back, Eli, we had a guy from South America call in from like a military base. This is why you lock into the show. Touching the globe, man. Couldn't do this without you, Eli. Really couldn't. I think you played 18 holes of golf today, Eli, did you? You didn't? Man, you sure look like you played 18 holes of golf, bro. But, guys, shout out my man Don Parker with that $10 donation. Dropping the love in there. Don Parker showing us that appreciation right there. Call topic here, folks. So, Bryce Young, former Alabama quarterback, 2021 Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young, is going to get the start this week for Carolina Panthers against the New Orleans Saints. Head coach for the Panthers, Dave Canales, talked about, Bryce took reps with the ones his second week doing that. He looks a whole lot better out there. Chemistry, camaraderie, connecting with the guys out there on the field. Canales excited to see Young take the field this weekend. My question, Eli, is this the audition tape for Bryce to be traded at the deadline? The NFL trade deadline is next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. You've got several NFL teams trying to have a playoff push, get into that Super Bowl bubble, if you will. Is this the game where Bryce kind of gets that audition tape to be let go of at the trade deadline? We'll see. Or is this Carolina's way of saying, we're going to really, truly help you by getting some receivers at the trade deadline, getting an offensive lineman or two at the trade deadline? Is this Carolina saying, Bryce, we're done messing over you. We're going to get you some help? Or is this Bryce's audition tape to be traded at the deadline? We'll see. It's playing this Sunday, so see how that ball bounces. We're going to take a break right here, folks, and touch that dial. When we get back, we can look at Kalen Deboer's opportunity to put all of national media on notice in next week's game against the LSU. We'll talk about it after this. We're out here at Alumni Hall in Tuscaloosa. Oh, yeah, this. Oh, man. Gotta get this. Gotta get one of these right here. Can't rock that Bama without this shirt right here, fresh polo. You gotta also rock the all pink, like Kanye West right there. Keychains, gotta get you some keychains. University of Alabama keychains. I'm telling you, if you are a die-hard Alabama fan and you're looking for some big-time apparel, this place has got everything. We're talking shirts, shoes, sweatshirts, hoodies, cups, mugs, keychains. If you're just a Tide fan that has an itch to get more apparel, get more swag in your game, you come right here at Alumni Hall in Tuscaloosa, right here in Midtown Village. And also you can shop online. The link is in the description to get your gear right here at Alumni Hall.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, here we go. We're back into the action from the break on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show, talking your Bama football right here. Continue to hit that subscribe button. Tap that subscribe button right now. Get yourself locked in to all things Bama football. Touchdown Alabama magazine right here on YouTube. Also the website, touchdownalabama.com. Subscribe there as well. Hit that like button, tap that thumbs up, get those like levels going right here on the show. That daily super chat go, $100 daily. Super chat go, $100 right there. But topic 2, eating out the conversation. King and Deboer's got a chance this weekend. Or not this weekend, next weekend, I'm sorry. He's got a chance next weekend to look all of national media square in the face and go, gotcha. You didn't think I could do it, but I just did it. I just took down LSU and Baton Rouge. Like, King and Deboer's got a big chance next week to look at everybody in national media that claims, he doesn't handle the stage well. He doesn't command the stage well. This was not the right hire. Alabama made a mistake. He's got a chance to look at everybody and go, gotcha. King and Deboer, he may not be Nick Saban. He's not Coach Saban. But he's a really good head coach. This is a head coach that was in the national championship game just a season ago. This is a head coach that won a Pac-12 championship just a season ago. This is a coach that put several Washington players high in the NFL draft just last season. This is a coach that took a Washington program that was a train wreck 2 years before he got there and turned it completely around, right? So King and Deboer is a good coach. This is a guy that is finding the balance in the SEC of being a coach that the players like, but also being a coach that holds players accountable. So he's finding that balance. Good coach. And as I mentioned, with every good thing, it takes time. With Nick Saban, it took him a little bit of time, right? We all grew with Coach Saban. We all have to grow with Coach Deboer. Even I myself, we have to grow with Coach Deboer, right? He was the right guy to be the successor to Coach Saban. Just needs a little bit of time here. And at 6-2, the college football playoff dream, the goal, the aspiration's not dead. Not. You beat LSU, you're right in there. You went out the remainder of this regular season schedule with 10-2, you're right in there. I mean, there's still the possibility, crazy as it sounds, you get more SEC teams to lose. Alabama could be in Atlanta playing for the SEC championship, as crazy as it sounds. Get a couple of teams to lose, that door opens back up. Right now, the door you're focused on is getting into the college football playoff, and that door has not closed. DeBoer's a good coach. Just because he doesn't have the antics that Saban had for 17 years does not make King and Deboer any less of a football coach. But when you look at the people of national media, it's, well, he doesn't have Alabama looking like Alabama, so he's not good. Well, he doesn't have Alabama looking like Alabama, so the people have become impatient. The only people that have become impatient about Alabama football are the ones that came on when Nick Saban won his first championship at Alabama in 2009. Those are the ones that may have become impatient, right? Because they jumped on when Saban won the first title in 2009. Now, the Alabama fans that have been fans since the Bear Bryant regime, they haven't been impatient with Coach Deboer. The fans that have been fans since Gene Stallings, they're not impatient with Coach Deboer. I myself, who came middle of Gene Stallings, I was all through Deboer, all through Franchione. I was there when Mike Price two-stepped in, did something crazy, and two-stepped out. Never coached a football game in his life for Alabama. I was here, Shula, so I'm not having any impatience with Coach Deboer. I mean, I was a part of the Alabama thing when Alabama was 3-8. I remember when Alabama was 6-6. I remember when Alabama couldn't beat Auburn 7 to 8 straight years. That was me, right? That was me. So I have no impatience with Coach Deboer. None. I mean, because I would rather take what Alabama's got going on right now than to go back to when it was 3-8. To go back when it was 6-6. To go back to we beat Tennessee by 3 points. Woo! At least we won. Bama beat Auburn by 1. Woo! At least we won, right? So I'm not impatient with Coach Deboer. The guy's first year. Has he endured some losses that we all would have loved to have been wins? Absolutely. We all would have loved the Vanderbilt loss to be a win. It was a loss. Got to move on from that. We've all would have loved the Tennessee loss to be a win. It was a loss. Got to move on from that. So, with me, I'm not impatient with Coach Deboer. Fans that have been supporters of this Alabama program long before Saban, long before Gene Stallings, talking Bear Bryant people, they're not impatient here with Coach Deboer. But Coach Deboer has a chance to this weekend. I guess I'm just real excited. It's not this weekend, Steve. It's next weekend. He's got a chance next weekend to prove a lot of people in national media wrong. And not just Coach Deboer, team captains for Bama. They have a chance. Not just to prove national media wrong, but to prove themselves right in having Deboer as the guy. You look at Tyler Booker, Malachi Moore, and Jalen Milroe. Embracing hanging Deboer with open arms. Understanding that, hey, this is the guy for us. They have a chance to prove that, hey, we brought the right guy in. They have a chance to show, hey, we brought in the excellent head coach. He's here. Deboer's the guy. We brought him in here. The right move was made. Like, Greg Burness, the AD, made the right call. So these team captains next week, when they strap up that helmet, they put them pads on, they know we're going out here to Tiger Stadium, not just to do war, to show everybody else out there that this is Alabama football, but we're strapping up these pads, we're doing war, to show everybody that the coach that we hired, that being Alabama football, hired back in January, was the right coach to take into the post-Nick Saban era. So national media can do all their chatter about he doesn't command the stage. He doesn't do this well. He doesn't do that well. His demeanor on the sideline bugs people. You can say all that you have to say. But when he takes a sword and sticks it in the chest of Death Valley and Death Valley bleeds out because LSU gets handed a loss next week by this coach right here, what will be your response then? What will be your response then? We're going to take another break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we return to the phone lines to get your calls, your thoughts, your conversations on your feeling about Alabama football next week against LSU. We'll talk to you, the fans, after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwill Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Deboer and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwillsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we're back to the action from the break on a Friday. Hottest show in the streets. You're talking Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA, my man Eli Walk in the production studio. We get a rest this week, Bama faithful. We get a rest this week. Bama off this week. Get a chance to look at some other games across the college football landscape that will occupy our attention. We prepare for the Crimson Tide to be back on the field next week, this time in Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, taking on the LSU Tigers. But phone lines open. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358 for them to call in. Let your voice be made known on the show, 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. Looking forward to hearing from all of you as you're getting your we got a call right here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stephen, this is Mike Smith calling out of Jacksonville, Florida. How you doing, brother?
Mike, I'm doing well. How about yourself, man?
Man, I'm inundated. Jacksonville's inundated with all these Georgia Bulldogs and Florida Gator fans. The game is tomorrow, so they always play it in Jacksonville. So I'm just going to kick back and watch the game from home. But anyway, here's the reason why I was calling. I look at each game from an X and O standpoint. And I'm going to say this, and I know I've heard everybody's perspective in regards to what they think Bama's going to do, what they think LSU is going to do. But this is what I've been saying over and over and over again every week. It starts with Miro. Miro do not have good S2 cognitive skills. I don't know if you're familiar with the NFL. You're a sharp guy, so.
The test, yes.
That the NFL, that's what they judge their quarterbacks, send them through the test, the S2 cognitive skills. The problem with Miro is that he's got real low cognitive skills. That's why you see him sit in the pocket and he locks in on one receiver instead of going through his checks. And then he'll panic. And then when he's supposed to run, when he could run, he don't run. And then when he turns around, you got a receiver that's covered, he just locks in, he's just going to throw to it. Or you get down to the 3-yard line, instead of running the ball, you throw the ball, which is crazy. I think part of that is the offensive coordinator as well. And, with these little bubble screens, all this stuff thrown to the flats behind the line of scrimmage just drives me crazy. It almost reminds me of Bill O'Brien, and we already know about what he did, his little 4 high school plays. And so my concern is, in this particular game that's coming up, that Miro, he has lost confidence, man. I'm going to tell you, if you don't think he reads the newspapers or, go out online or watch TV and see all the criticisms, I think it's in his head right now. What Miro needs to do right now is don't worry about the NFL, because he's trying to throw the ball to prove to the NFL, hey, I can throw and all this. But the bottom line is to this whole thing is it starts with him. That offense starts with him. If they come up and create plays and spread the defense out and give an opportunity for him to throw or get the wide receivers or the tight ends in there, to run their routes, and basically, Bama stands a chance of winning this game. But if he continues to do and do this crazy nonsense stuff, looking down, staring down, a doggone wide receiver, tight end, and the defense is watching that, interception. And, not only that, Steven, it's the fact that which way, and I'm going to ask you this question. You might laugh at this. When Miro scrambles, which way did he scramble? Every time. Have you paid that attention?
I paid that attention. Normally, he scrambles to his right.
Boom, boom, shakalaka, shakalaka. That's what they would say. You're absolutely right. So as I'm a defensive player and I can collapse the pocket, guess what? I've got the defender right there because I know he's going to scramble to the right and for a sack. And so this is what I'm saying, where they need to come up with some creative offense, in the sense that basically that's going to throw LSU off. If the offensive line can hold the defensive line from LSU and doggone give Miro time, if I'm the quarterback's coach, if I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm telling Miro, hey, look, you need to do your checkdowns. You need, you're talking what, 3 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds. That's not much. You need to go through your check. You got wide receivers out there that's wide open, and you're not even looking at these guys. So this is the kind of stuff, but he's got this psychic in his head right now. I kind of feel sorry for him, and I don't want to criticize him, but he just doesn't have the cognitive skills. Now let me interject something real quick. You remember Michael Penix, right?
Yes.
With Washington. The reason why Coach Deboer, the reason why his offensive schemes work is because Penix had a real high SQ cognitive skills. He can process. If you go back and look at those games, man, he's going through, boom, 1 second, 2 seconds, boom, the ball is already out hitting the chest. And so it was a fast process. Somebody that would have did excellent in the same offense that would have changed Alabama. Alabama wouldn't even probably have lost any games. If you put Bryce Young in that same offense, and when the NFL did his has 2 cognitive skills, man, his skills with his cognitive skills were so high, they compared it to Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And those are that's pretty favorable. But the bottom line is, Miro, it starts with him, man. And I know that we always look back and say, hey, we can point fingers, this and that. And, everybody's talking about, well, he regressed right now. Well, he just needs to have enough confidence in himself. And then I'm pointing my finger directly at this offensive coordinator. That, in fact, man, we need to stop with these little 4 high school plays and come up, with some creative plays throughout. And then let's do this on both sides, the defensive side of the house, offensive side of the house. Please, guys, if stop working what you're doing or it's not working at halftime, let's go in and change up. And they can't do that. It seems like they have a problem going in and changing up the game. And that drives me crazy. And so my TVs right now in my house are kind of beat up because I've been throwing pillows at them, And so at this point, I'm going to watch the game, but if I see the same thing that Miro is going to do, man, the offense is going to sputter. And regardless of what the defense does, the offense sputters and you can't score. Guess what? You keep LSU in the game enough to score and win the game. And so I'm hoping that these guys, it comes to the senses from the offensive coordinator as well as the defensive coordinator, that these guys wake up and say, hey, look, including the players, man, we got to do something. We got to do something different from what we've been doing and start doing what we need to do in order to win the game. And so that's all I'm saying. But let me close with this right here. And that is, I've criticized the defense so much, and we got star power everywhere, Stephen. You already know that. We got star power on defense. We got star power on offense. The problem is you just need to put it together and find out what each weakness is or what's the strength for your players. And that's what gives you a winning team, And I hope and pray. This is just my own opinion now. I don't know what yours is. But, man, I hope and pray that Jeremy Pruitt, at the end of the season, and I know they talk about Kane Womack and all this stuff like that, and he might be a candidate for another job. But the bottom line to me is, man, if we get Jeremy Pruitt back on defense, and then in addition to that, I don't know what this offensive coordinator, I'm not a fan of this offensive coordinator because he reminds me so much of Bill O'Reilly. But I think that Coach Deboer, he's an outstanding coach, man. He is. He just don't have the right quarterback right now. Look in the wings, and I'm going to close out with this right here. Look in the wings of the quarterbacks And I don't think Ty Simpson might be the guy. I think that you might be looking at those other cats that's already on the roster that can run that offense, that can run the offense that Coach Deboer is used to running, that you'll see next year is going to be impressive. So I just wanted to, put my 2 cents in and say that I've been a Bama fan since before you was born, probably 1973, when in Legion Field. I graduated out of Carroll W. Hayes High School. You know about that, don't you?
Hey, nah.
Playing at Legion Field every year against Auburn. I'm telling you, man, I've been a fan a long time. I've seen the good and the bad. But the bottom line is I'm a diehard Alabama guy. I'm going to be a diehard Alabama guy. I'm going to ride with the Tide to the end. But the bottom line is, man, I'm telling you, I don't know how much more my head can take. Because like I say, I view every game from an X and O standpoint, and I'm looking, why is he not in cover 2? What does he do? Why are the cornerbacks sitting 15 feet off the wide receivers? It's just, that's how I be looking at the game. So anyway, Stephen, I'll let you go, but thank you so much for taking my call, man. You have a blessed day. And roll Tide.
Appreciate Mike calling in from Jacksonville. We're going to grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
How's it going, Steven? This is Pat from Atlanta, man. How's it going?
Doing good, Pat. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good, Steven. Man, that call was on it, man. I agree with what he's saying with Miro, that the most of it starts with Miro. You know what I mean? Like the momentum of the game starts with the offense getting clicking, getting started, and that's the most important thing to me going into playing LSU is getting the offense started. So, what you think?
I mean, he's the engine to this car, Pat. Jalen Milroe's the engine to this car, and he has to be on point. And since the Wisconsin game, week 3, and the Georgia game, the 4th game, coming off that first bye, he has not been himself. He has not. I mean, Wisconsin, he played very well. Georgia was the best we have ever seen him look. Matter of fact, after the Georgia game, you had NFL teams acting like, should he be the number 1 overall pick? You had Mel Kiper Jr. hyped up like, this should be the number 1 overall pick. And ever since that Georgia game, there's been a drop. And
that what he showed that first half.
Yeah, there's been a drop since the Georgia game. And whether that's been a loss of confidence, whether that's been Nick Sheridan's game planning not being what it needs to be, whatever the situation is, that's got to be fixed.
Right. My thing is play to your strong points, Jalen. That if you look back at the Tennessee game, those creases that he had when the defense didn't spy on him, and he had those creases to get those first downs or those long runs. For whatever reason, he sat back there, and then did incompletions. His game is to, if it's not there, progress 1, 2, 3, then he's taking off getting that first down. Like use your strength. But then if you look at him throughout this season, he's been slow to get up on a lot of hits. He done took some hard licks this year, and he just had that slow getting up, maybe a little hamstring issue. You know what I mean? Like you look at him and tell he's not quite there. From what I'm looking at his stride and how he's running, he's not all the way there yet. I think Nick Sheridan played and called a pretty good call this season. I'm pretty happy about the calls that he done called. But if we can get Jalen just to dial it in and get his game going, because if you look at him after the game, his press conference stuff, the confidence he has, he needs to distribute that confidence that he does on his press conferences to on the field. You know what I mean? Like his confidence that he shows is on point. I think he needs to just have that confidence every drive, every game, and that confidence that he has already installed and instilled in him, just contribute that to the game, because he had the talent, he had the skills. You know what I mean? He's playing for Alabama. I mean, of course, the pressure gonna get to you, but just let it hang, man. Let it hang, because the team that we have now, if you look at this college football team, like we've had for the last however many 17 years under Nick Saban, the talent is there to win a championship. That's the thing that hurts us when we come up short, is because the talent has always been on the Alabama team. That's what we've always looked forward to. You know what I mean?
I mean, the talent's there. It's there. For Milroe, it's going to be, as much as you may like to keep the ball on a lot of those zone replays, let that ball go to Justice Haynes. Let that ball go to Jam Miller. Let that ball go to Richard Young. And for a lot of people that say, well, he's trying to focus on the NFL and show that he's a better passer, Milroe, just play your game. You say the NFL stuff for the NFL Combine. If you choose to declare for the draft after this season, you save all of that for the underwear Olympics at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indy. You save that for the underwear Olympics. You show all the people that you got a rifle for an arm. You show that to them there. But right now, you play the game that's got you to this point.
Yes, sir. You play to win that game. You play to get them that 3rd and 7. You play to get that first down, no matter what it takes. You don't have to hit on a comeback route on a out to Ryan. We don't have to hit that. If it takes you getting it with your feet, go get it. Whatever it takes. You know what I mean? Whatever it takes. But I appreciate your time, though, Steve. Now, let's get back to it, man.
Absolutely.
Have a good one. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. Pat from Atlanta calling in, giving us his thoughts here on the show. For me, that's the main thing, right? And I understand it. For a lot of quarterbacks they come out of high school as dual threat guys, right? More times than not, when you come out of high school as a dual threat guy, you're more of a better runner than what you are a passer. Now, some come out doing both extremely well. Tua came out doing both extremely well. Bryce came out as more of the passer, than the runner. But for most parts, a lot of guys that come out dual threat are the better runner than what they are the passer. Jalen Hurts was one of those guys. So in this situation, a lot of those guys, they feel like, I gotta prove that I can throw the football or I can pass the football. I gotta prove that I can be accurate in distributing this ball to the playmakers every single time. But the bigger thing is, you play the game that got you to where you are. You play that style that got you to where you are. If you know it's 3rd and 7, yes, I can be accurate with the ball and pass it for a first down. But if I see, hey, I can juke this linebacker out the way and get the first down with my legs, and that's what got me here, do that. Do that. Because NFL scouts, they're going to go see you at the NFL Combine. They're going to go see you at the NFL Combine. They're going to go see you throw the ball 60, 70, 80 yards and be accurate at the Combine. They're going to go see you at your pro day doing the exact same stuff you did at the Combine. Should you go to the Senior Bowl down there in Mobile, they're going to watch you down there at the Senior Bowl. Should you go to the East-West Shrine Game or the Hula Bowl or any of these events to showcase your talent, these scouts are going to see you. So right now, play the game that got you here. Don't overly concern yourself with, well, I got to prove to everybody I can throw the football, I can pass the football here in college. No. In college, as a quarterback, you're showing I can lead my team, I can effectively play my position to help my team win, and most importantly, I'm trying to help my team win a championship. It's the main thing. Call topic right here, Eli. We got Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, Richard Young. Alabama's got a stable of running backs. But do we see the Crimson Tide lean on this group in the second half of the season, starting with LSU next week, in its push for the college football playoff? We saw in the Saban era, the second half of the season, Alabama would lean on its run game. 2015, it leaned on Derrick Henry. 2016, 2017, the back half of both seasons, it leaned on Bo Scarborough. 2020, back half of that season, even though you had explosiveness from Mac Jones in the passing game, Najee Harris still got his. Will we see the moment, the second half of the season, that it leans on Justice Haynes, and we see more thunderous runs like we saw against Missouri? Does it lean on Jam Miller, and we see more big plays from him? Do we start seeing more carries to Richard Young? Kind of got that bruiser mentality back. Probably doesn't have that big-time top-end speed just yet, but he does have that bruiser mentality that you can lean on. Alabama trusts more of its backfield in the second half of this regular season. We'll see as we start this thing off with LSU next week. I'll take a final break here, folks, on the show. We'll be back to wrap up this conversation with a very interesting discussion. We'll touch on it after this.
I'm Malachi Moore, and you're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
What's going on? This is Benny Bice. I'm the founder and owner of Touchdown Alabama, and you guys are supporting one of the only independent outlets covering Alabama football today. No other sports, no networks, just Alabama football. Roll Tide Roll.
All right, folks, here we go. We're back into the action from the break. Number one ticket for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Happy to have you all here on a Friday rest week here for Alabama, but preparing for next week, a matchup against LSU, Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But final discussion here, Eli, and that being, who needs to have the rooting interest for Alabama this week when you look at the push for the college football playoff? Bama doesn't play this week. But if some teams could lose this week to help Alabama's chances, who are those teams that need to lose? Like, who would be your rooting interest this week? So for me, you got Ohio State, Penn State this weekend. Eli, you brought this game up to me in the prep work before the show. You would have to pull for Penn State over Ohio State. You would have to pull for Michigan over Oregon. That game is coming on this week. You may have to pull for Duke over Miami. I don't think that's going to happen, but you may need to pull for Duke over Miami, and those are just the first three that I can think of. And any other game that has some interest here when it comes down to the Crimson Tide's potential seeding in the college football playoff. Now, in my opinion, I feel like if Alabama beats LSU, it's in regardless. I think if Alabama beats LSU and it handles business, wins out the remainder of the season, I think it's in at 10-2. I think it's in. And not only do I think it's in, Eli, I think it's in and it hosts a playoff game at home within seeds 5 through 8, right? That's just my thoughts. But when I look at, could some help be warranted for Alabama? Would it be nice for the Crimson Tide to have some help in other teams losing, other teams dropping? Sure, it'd be nice to have some help. I'm saying, but look at your rooting interest being Penn State over Ohio State, Michigan over Oregon, and possibly Duke over Miami. And those, in my opinion, those probably the only marquee games this weekend for college football. If there are some others, and I will definitely highlight those on social media here coming up on tomorrow for you guys to look at and see who would you pull for, who would you cheer for, who would you root for. But I mean, Eli, let me ask you: does Alabama, Eli, in your opinion, need somebody else to lose for it to make the 12-team playoff? Do you feel that way? I want to get your thoughts here, Eli, on that. Do you feel like Alabama needs that kind of assistance for somebody else to lose for it to get in? See here, I know Eli's right now giving us his response here from the production studio. He's got it. So Eli's saying, so just handle Bama's business, and the rest will handle itself. There you go, Eli. So Eli's saying, hey, do what Bama's got to do. Win out the remainder of its regular season schedule. Everything else will take care of itself when it comes down to the college football playoff picture. Eli kind of see it the same way. Do what you got to do. Smack up LSU. Smack up Oklahoma. Take Auburn out the frame. And you end the season 10-2. And let the chips fall where they may there. But I'm excited for next week, Eli. I really am. I mean, I'm excited to have a rest this week, but I'm definitely looking forward to watching this team go down to Baton Rouge next week and handle that business. But as always, Bama Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, entertainment, conversation on your favorite program, that being the Alabama Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone for your audio needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered there. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I'll try to be back on Monday, continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you can subscribe. You got to subscribe right now to touchdownalabama.com to have all of your Bama in the palm of your hands there. Subscribe to touchdownalabama.com. Do that right now, today, at this very moment. Get all of your Bama news right there so you can feel like the insider. All things Crimson Tide, touchdownalabama.com. Gotta show some love to all of you, the Bama fans, for the donations tonight, for the calls tonight. You guys get those phone lines up for chatting in the YouTube chat, making this your spot here for all things Bama coverage. Today, I got shout out my man Eli Walker in the production studio as well, handling that business. But until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing too. Not be bored there. As we're getting to the weekend, you get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man Steven Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.